Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you've walked down a grocery store aisle recently, you've probably stared blankly at the dairy case and experienced the ultimate paradox of choice. I mean, there's just an absolute explosion of milk options these days, right? Today, we're going to demystify exactly what is going on inside those cartons.
Because it's the million-dollar question. Almond, oat, soy, or dairy? Which is actually the healthiest? Finding the perfect milk can feel, well, incredibly confusing, especially when literally every single brand is shouting a totally different health claim at you.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The reality is, there is actually no single perfect milk. What we have instead is a really complex matrix of nutritional trade-offs. So in this explainer, we're going to impartially evaluate each contender based on its unique biological impact on your body. We are stripping away all the marketing fluff to look at just the pure science.
Section 1. The Dairy Matrix, the traditional gold standard.
Now, what's really interesting here is the concept of the matrix itself. You see, milk isn't just some random soup of calcium and fat. It actually has a highly unique physical structure. For example, when you drink dairy milk, the casein proteins actually coagulate right there in your stomach. This unique interaction allows for a slow, gradual, sustained release of amino acids and nutrients into your body. It's kind of like an extended release capsule.
Looking at the pros, these naturally occurring elements make dairy incredibly nutrient-dense. You're getting 8 grams of complete protein per cup, which is just fantastic for muscle building. And that biological matrix we just talked about, it actually facilitates superior mineral absorption. This means your body easily uses that naturally high calcium and vitamin B12 for your bone health. Plus, the natural lactose sugar gives it a super low glycemic index of just 47.
But, of course, we have to look at the other side of the coin here. The primary drawback is lactose. A huge number of adults simply lack the enzyme to digest it, which, as you probably know, leads to gas and bloating. Also, whole milk variations contain higher saturated fats. That's definitely something you might need to monitor depending on your specific heart health profile.
Moving on to Section 2, soy milk, the nutritional proxy.
So, the crucial point here is this standout number. 8 grams. Soy milk impressively matches dairy's 8 grams of complete protein per cup. That's a huge deal because it means it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body desperately needs but literally can't produce on its own.
Let's look at what really makes soy such a powerhouse. Beyond that high-quality protein, soy milk is rich in phytochemicals called isoflavones. And the clinical data? It's fascinating. Replacing dairy with soy can actually significantly reduce total cholesterol and triglycerides. In fact, trials show a median daily dose of about 500 milliliters of soy milk, so roughly 2 cups, can lower non-HDL cholesterol and reduce systolic blood pressure by approximately 8 millimeters of mercury. So it's incredibly heart healthy and it's naturally low in saturated fat.
Now, to balance the scale, soy isn't for everyone. For one, it's a really common allergen. Also, unlike dairy, soy relies heavily on fortification. Unfortified soy milk naturally lacks calcium and vitamin D, so you absolutely have to check the label to make sure those have been added. And finally, some people just don't prefer that slightly beany taste profile when you compare it to the rich creaminess of cow's milk.
Which brings us to Section 3, almond milk, the caloric economy.
Okay, this number might gently surprise you. Commercial almond milk products often contain only 2% to 5% actual almonds. No way, right? The rest of the beverage is primarily just filtered water, along with some stabilizers and emulsifiers to keep it mixed.
But despite the low almond content, there are major pros here. Unsweetened almond milk has a very, very low caloric density. We're talking just 30 to 50 calories per cup, and only 1 to 2 grams of carbs. It also contains heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, specifically oleic acid, and it's a great natural source of vitamin E, which is a potent antioxidant. All of this makes almond milk absolutely fantastic for someone strictly watching their calories or carefully monitoring their blood sugar.
And this brilliantly illustrates our whole trade-off theme. Because of that severe nutrient dilution, almond milk acts way more like a functional water. It's basically a low-calorie carrier for fortified vitamins rather than a dense, natural nutrient source like dairy or soy. You're getting less than 1 gram of protein per cup, and honestly, the protein quality is very low, missing essential amino acids like lysine.
Let's jump into Section 4, oat milk, fiber meets carbohydrates.
So there's a fascinating study regarding oat milk and your heart. Research actually demonstrates that drinking 3 cups of oat milk daily for 5 weeks can result in an 8-point drop in LDL, that's your bad cholesterol, in individuals who already have high cholesterol.
How does it do this? Well, beta-glucans are the secret weapon here. This unique soluble fiber provides a clear cardiovascular benefit that you just don't see in other plant milks. On top of that, oat milk is a total lifesaver for anyone with multiple allergies because it's completely free of dairy, soy, and nuts. Plus, its thick, creamy texture and naturally sweet taste make it incredibly popular, especially in coffee shops.
But here's the required metabolic caution. Oat milk carries a really high carbohydrate load. We're talking about 15 grams per cup. And because of the industrial enzymatic processing used to break down the oat starch, it contains a sugar called maltose, which gives it a high glycemic index. It's also relatively low in protein, sitting at just 2 to 4 grams. So for anyone sensitive to midday blood sugar spikes, this high-carb, low-protein combo is a major metabolic trade-off that you really need to consider.
Now for Section 5, Final Trade-offs, Synthesizing the Data.
Let's move to the data and see how this all builds together. Comparing the protein content per cup reveals some totally undeniable disparities. Look, if you rely on your beverage for satiety and muscle support, dairy and soy are the true nutritional heavyweights here. Almond milk, and to a lesser extent oat milk, well, they simply do not compete in this specific category.
Now walking through this side-by-side matrix, the path becomes super clear based on your personal goals. If you have a strict low-calorie or low-carb need, the data points directly to unsweetened almond milk. On the flip side, if you have a specific cholesterol-lowering need, your eyes should immediately go to the beta-glucans in oat milk or the isoflavones in soy. And if you want a perfectly packaged nutrient delivery system for bone and muscle growth, dairy is incredibly efficient, provided you can comfortably digest lactose, of course.
So, clearly summarizing what we've learned today. Choosing a milk isn't about finding the objectively best option in the universe. That just doesn't exist. It's simply about matching the specific biological profile of the beverage, whether that's the awesome nutrient density of dairy and soy, or the caloric and allergy-friendly profiles of almond and oat, to your own personal dietary gaps.
So, I'll leave you with this final empowering thought. Armed with the actual science behind these nutritional profiles, which trade-off makes the most sense for your body's specific needs? The next time you hit the grocery store aisle, you get to make the impartial, educated choice that perfectly fuels your day. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.